So y'all gotta check this out. On Ventura Boulevard in Woodland Hills, the cops are hiding in parking lots and hiring people to illegally walk across the street, and whoever passes them, like this guy in blue, whoever passes them gets a ticket, just like this guy in white. That is illegal. Look at these two. And then whoever passes them, they get pulled over. Look at the cop. Y'all are up. That is crazy. They got you. So y'all gotta check this out. On Ventura Boulevard in Woodland Hills, the cops are hiding in parking lots and hiring people to illegally walk across the street, and whoever passes them, like this guy in blue, whoever passes them gets a ticket, just like this guy in white. That is illegal. Look at these two. And then whoever passes them, they get pulled over. Look at the cop. Y'all are up. That is crazy. They got you. So y'all gotta check this out.
Shalom. First and foremost, I would like to give all honor, praises, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakadash, and double honors and respect to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone for teaching me this truth, as well as much respect and honors to the brothers that are pushing this truth in sincerity across the four winds of this earth and risking their lives and freedom to do so. I would also like to give much honors and respect to the brothers and sisters that are of the hopeful elect that are doing their very best to keep the laws, statutes, and commandments of the Most High to the best of their abilities. Shalom. What we just saw in this short video right here that I just shared with you was you got these devils, and what they're doing is they're basically creating a traffic snare, okay, to try to intentionally entrap people, okay, so that they can pull the people over and rob the people of their money, basically writing tickets so that they can write tickets and rob the people of their money. That's what's happening right here in this particular situation. You got this devil Esau. He's intentionally trying to create a traffic snare, okay, to try to intentionally, catch people so that therefore he can be justified in pulling the people over, okay, and writing tickets, and as I was saying, basically to rob the people of their money. And see, this is how these devils get down, and this right here is wicked as hell right here. This is wicked and foul. But again, this is how Esau gets down, though. And see, here it is. These devils, they really love coming into our neighborhoods and setting up all types of snares and traps to try to catch our people. And when I say our people, I'm talking about the nation of Israel, who are you so-called blacks, Hispanics, Native Americans, and those that are of the speckled bird that look like these other nations, but you go back to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob on your father's side. These devils, they love coming into our neighborhoods and oppressing our people. Because here it is, what these devils will do is they'll come into our neighborhoods, set up all types of speed traps and snares and whatnot, all types of, other types of snares and traps in our neighborhood to try to catch our people, to try to keep our people subject to, making heavy payments, paying tickets and fines and whatnot. They'll also try to set up all types of snares and traps in our neighborhood, to try to keep our people in and out of the jail systems, in and out of the juvenile systems, in and out of the prison systems and whatnot. This is how these devils like to get down. They really love oppressing our people, okay? But whoever, shared this video with Channel 7 News, I'm glad that they shared it. Because here it is, these devils are being exposed, for the wickedness that they're doing, And seeing with that being said, the whole world is coming to the realization of who the wicked really is, The whole world is coming to the realization, as to who's oppressing the people, mainly our people, okay? The whole world is coming to the realization as to why, the earth is in a wicked and mourning state. Why, we're hearing about wars and rumors of wars. Okay? The whole world is coming to the realization of who the wicked really is. And that wicked is Esau, Edom, the self-proclaimed white man. And these devils are being exposed as the wicked, because that's who they are. Because again, this right here is wicked as hell. To basically try to intentionally create a situation so that you can basically rob the people of their money. This is wicked as hell. And see, here it is. I can remember this happened maybe a year, maybe 2 years ago, where these devils, they got caught, setting up a snare within Jake's neighborhood. Here it is. What they did was they had an 18-wheeler full of sneakers. I think this happened in Chicago somewhere. Here it is. They had that 18-wheeler full of sneakers, and they took that 18-wheeler and they parked it in Jake's neighborhood. And they left the trailer unlocked, full of sneakers, hoping that Jake would try to go into the back of that trailer, and take those sneakers. But, someone had peeped, basically, sought out what these, or peeped up, had, basically caught wind of what these devils were trying to do. And so, the warnings went out. And so therefore, nobody went into the back of that trailer and took those sneakers. And so, these devils, they basically had, had been exposed. And so they had eventually they ended up moving that trailer full of sneakers, or that truck, that 18-wheeler full of sneakers. But again, this is how these devils like to get down. They're the wicked. They're basically robbing the people. They're basically oppressing the people, and they're mainly oppressing our people. But, with that being said, these devils, they don't have much longer in the power seat. Their kingdom is literally falling right before our eyes. And it's going to fall very soon, Lord willing. And Esau, Edom, the self-proclaimed white man, has a great and terrible judgment coming to them very soon, for all the crimes that they have committed, And these devils, they're not going to be able to weasel out of that judgment that they got coming. And so, I saw this short video right here, and I just thought that I would bring out a quick lesson because, again, this right here this is wicked as hell. And these devils are being exposed for all of the wickedness that they are, that they've done, and that they're currently doing. They're being exposed. Their skirt is being lifted. And so what I'm going to go ahead on and do is I'm going to bring out a couple of scriptures, and then we will end the lesson. But again, this right here is wicked as hell. Okay, the first scripture I want to go to is in the book of Ecclesiastes, and this is chapter 7, and this is verse 7. And it reads, surely oppression maketh a wise man mad, and a gift destroyeth the heart. And that's right, because here it is in this particular video that I shared in the beginning of this lesson. This was a form of oppression, because what you had these devils, these cops, what they was doing was they was basically intentionally creating a traffic snare. They was basically creating a situation to try to catch people. Okay, so therefore they would be justified in pulling the people over and writing the people tickets, basically robbing the people of their money. This is oppression right here. And anybody with a little bit of common sense, would get upset about this. Because again, what these devils are doing is they're basically robbing the people of their money. They're oppressing the people. It says, surely oppression maketh a wise man mad, and a gift destroyeth the heart. And that's right. A gift can destroy the heart, or a gift, yes, a gift will destroy. In many cases, a gift can destroy the heart, because in many cases, people, in many cases, gifts, can make a person forget that they're being oppressed. Because here it is during the days of Rome. What these devils was doing, they was giving the people bread and circuits, okay, to basically keep the people's minds off the fact that they were being oppressed, okay? And here it is in many cases. This is happening today over here in America, also known as Babylon the Great. Bread and circus is happening over here again, as I was saying, in many cases over here in America today. Because here it is with all of these different NFL games and NBA games and all these other different events, boxing events and whatnot. These devils have all these different events going on to basically pacify the people and to basically keep the people's minds off the fact that they're being oppressed. Okay? So Ecclesiastes chapter 7, verse 7 again says, surely oppression maketh a wise man mad. And again, back to this video that I shared in the beginning of this lesson, this was a form of oppression that these devil cops were doing, these wicked cops were doing, because they were basically, setting up snares, creating traps, so that they can rob the people, and then be justified in pulling people over and writing them tickets and whatnot. It says, and a gift destroyeth the heart, because in many cases, a gift will make a person forget the fact that they're being oppressed. I want to go to the book of Habakkuk, and this is chapter 2 and verse 2 that I want to start in. And it reads, and the Lord Yahweh Shah answered me and said, write the vision and make it plain upon tables, that he may run that readeth it. Verse 3, it says, for the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry. Okay, and see, the Lord has given his men the eye salve, to break down these prophecies and to make them plain upon tables. And that vision, that's being, mentioned in this scripture right here is talking about the vision that the prophets were receiving back then that was set for an appointed time. And now it's at appointed time. Okay? And the end is talking about the end of Esau Edom's rulership, because the visions were of Esau Edom coming into power and being taken out of power. And while in the midst of Esau being in power, he will be doing certain things. He will be oppressing the people, mainly our people, the nation of Israel. Again, who are you so-called blacks, Hispanics, Native Americans, and those that are of the speckled bird that look like these other nations. But you go back to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob on your father's side. This devil would enslave our people. He would be murdering our people, okay? And this devil, he would be, subjecting our people to payments for every little thing. Esau, he would be defiling everything from the food to the air to the water, okay? This devil, he would be pushing out all types of wicked philosophies and whatnot that are contrary to the Most High's laws, statutes, and commandments. Okay, this devil, he would be in the lab, creating pestilences and whatnot, to try to cause the people to become ill and perish and whatnot, I want to get verse 3 again. It says, for the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie, though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come, it will not tarry. And see, these prophecies, they're popping off the pages and they're happening in real time. Here it is, we have World War III, it's building up. Okay, you got that MO to the T to the B, it's here. It hadn't been mandated as of yet, but you best believe very soon these devils, they're going to come down with great wrath and they're going to mandate it and they're going to try to force everyone to get that. And if you get that, Israel, the Most High, Yahweh Shem Abishai, is going to destroy you. But again, these prophecies, they're popping off the pages and they're happening in real time. Okay, here it is, the economy is collapsing over here, Here it is, we're seeing the downfall of Esau Edom's rulership. This place is falling right before our eyes, and it's going to fall very soon, Lord willing. These devils, they don't have much longer in the power seat. Habakkuk chapter 2 and verse 4, it says, behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him, but the just shall live by his faith. And Esau, he's the wicked, and his soul is not upright in him. Okay, this is why this devil, he's oppressing the people, mainly our people. This is why this devil, he comes into, our neighborhoods and sets up all types of snares and traps to try to catch our people, to try to keep our people, as I was saying earlier, subjected to, making payments and paying hefty tickets and fines, he'll set up all types of snares and traps to try to keep our people in and out of the prison and jail systems and whatnot, to keep our people, our children in and out of the juvenile systems and whatnot, okay? This devil, his soul is not upright in him. He's the wicked. This devil, he'll tax you for every little thing, This devil, he puts taxes on our food. Okay, this devil, he's taxing, he puts taxes on your home. Okay, here it is. You can pay a home off over here, but then you still got to pay property taxes on it. And if you don't pay the taxes on it, they'll come and take the home from you, even after you done paid it off. You can be on a 30-year mortgage and pay that 30-year mortgage off. And after you done paid off that 30-year mortgage, you still got to pay property taxes. This devil, his soul is not upright in him. And again, as I was saying, if you don't pay them property taxes, even after you done paid, that 30-year mortgage off, and if you miss those property taxes, this devil, he'll come and take your home from you, And see, here it is, speaking of taxes, this devil, he's increasing the taxes. And so therefore now you're having a lot of people, they're now having to sell their homes. A lot of people's homes are now going into foreclosure because they can no longer afford to pay for their homes because their mortgage rates are increasing due to the taxes going up. But, this devil Esau, all he does is just bring nothing but confusion, oppression, okay, disease, death, and destruction wherever he goes. His soul is not upright in him. Verse 4 again, it says, behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him, but the just shall live by his faith. Okay? And see, the hopeful elect, we live by faith. We live by faith in knowing that the Lord Yahweh Shem Abishai is going to strip these devils of their rulership. We live, by faith in knowing that the Lord Yahweh Shem Abishai is going to soon deliver us, from our enemies, We live, by faith in knowing that the Lord Yahweh Shem Abishai is going to make these devils pay for all the crimes that they have committed. Again, this devil Esau has a great and terrible judgment coming to him very soon. Okay, this is Proverbs, and this is chapter 4, and this is verse 16. And it reads, for they sleep not, except they have done mischief, and their sleep is taken away, unless they cause some to fall. Verse 17, it says, for they eat the bread of wickedness and drink the wine of violence. Okay, and again, this is how these devils get down. Okay, they don't sleep unless they're doing some type of wickedness. Okay, like setting up all types of traffic snares, or setting up all types of snares and whatnot. in Jake's neighborhood, to try to, keep, our people, subjected to paying heavy tickets and fines, And see, these devils, they even oppress their own people, They're wicked to their own people. But again, these devils, they really like to oppress our people because they have that perpetual hatred towards our people. Proverbs chapter 4 and verse 16 again, it says, "For they sleep not except they have done mischief, and their sleep is taken away unless they cause some to fall." And again, this is how these devils get down. They don't sleep unless they're doing some type of wickedness, or unless they're trying to, they don't get no sleep unless they're causing somebody to fall. Okay, here it is during that C-scamdemic. Okay, when these devils came out with that jump shot for that C-scamdemic, these devils know that was the whole goal, for these devils, doing what they did during that C-scamdemic was to cause people to become ill and in a weakened state, as well as to lead off a bunch of people. Verse 17, it says, "For they eat the bread of wickedness and drink the wine of violence." And again, these devils know they're wicked. They're the wicked, okay? And everywhere they go, they bring nothing but, disease, death and destruction, Here it is, these devils, they take people's lands, okay, by violence, Esau is the wicked. And the whole world is coming to realization of who the wicked really is. Here it is, these devils, they'll go into other people's lands, okay, by force, and rob the people of their resources, steal the people's lands and whatnot. This is how these devils got America, okay? Through violence, okay? Through deception, through theft. They stole it from the Northern Kingdom, from our Northern Kingdom brothers and sisters. They stole America from our Northern Kingdom brothers and sisters. Okay, this is the book of Psalm, and this is chapter 10, and I want to start in verse 8. And it reads, "He sitteth in the lurking places of the villages. In the secret places doth he murder the innocent. His eyes are privily set against the poor." And see, here it is, back to this video that I shared in the beginning of this lesson. This is what these devils were doing. They were basically sitting, in the lurking places of the villages. Basically, setting traps, trying to catch people, trying to basically rob the people of their money and whatnot, And see, these devils, they really have that perpetual hatred towards our people. So they really love coming into our neighborhoods, setting up all types of snares and traps and whatnot, so that they can, basically, unalive our people and keep our people in and out of the prison systems and jail systems and whatnot. This is Psalms chapter 10. This is verse 8 again. It says, "He sitteth in the lurking places of the villages. In the secret places doth he murder the innocent. His eyes are privily set against the poor." Okay. Verse 9, it says, "He lieth in wait secretly as a lion in his den. He lieth in wait to catch the poor. He doth catch the poor when he draweth him into his net." And again, this is what these devils were doing, okay, in the video that I shared in the beginning of this lesson. They were sitting in the villages, seeking to rob, and steal and destroy the innocent. They were seeking to rob, steal, and destroy the innocent, the poor, the brokenhearted. And again, these devils, they really have their eyes on trying to oppress and destroy our people, because Esau has that everlasting hatred towards our people. So they love coming into our neighborhoods and setting up all types of snares and traps, to try to keep our people subjected to making payments and paying hefty tickets and fines and whatnot. They try to keep our people in and out of the prison systems, the juvenile detention systems, the jail systems and whatnot. Basically just oppressing our people. Verse 10, Psalm chapter 10, verse 10, it says, "He croucheth and humbled himself, that the poor may fall by his strong ones." Okay, and see, here it is what these devils would do. They would come to you all soft-spoken. They will act all humble, act like they're trying to be friendly to you and whatnot. But in the back of their minds, they're seeking to try to destroy you. And if given the opportunity, they're going to show you their horns, and they're going to try to destroy you. Okay? Here it is. I want to say this was last week. I was watching this video. And here it is. You had this Edomite cop, this devil. He had pulled over a retired Marine. And that retired Marine, he appeared to be a Northern Kingdom Jake. Well, anyway, that Northern Kingdom Jake, he was very cooperative with that devil cop. The cop pulled him over. The cop was acting all nice to him initially at first. And then, the cops started asking him questions. Asking did he have any type of drugs or any type of large sums of money and anything like that in the vehicle. And, the Northern Kingdom Jake said, no, he didn't have any drugs in the vehicle because, he was a retired Marine. But he did admit that he had a large sum of money in his vehicle. And he said the reason why he had a large sum of money in his vehicle was because, he didn't trust banks and he didn't really like using banks. And then he was also getting ready to go to, I think, California to visit his daughters and whatnot. And so he had that large sum of money, and I think he was going to give some of that to his daughters. Well, anyway, when that cop heard that cop's whole countenance, started to, begin to change. The cop, asked, could he search the vehicle? And the Jake, was compliant. The Jake said, yeah, you can search the vehicle and whatnot. And then after the cop searched the vehicle, then the cop said, well, I need to go ahead and call a search dog out here. So the cop, then called a search dog out there, and the cop had a search dog to sniff around the vehicle. Okay, and then the cop also, took the money and had the dog to sniff the money. Okay, and then before you know it, that one cop, I think after about maybe 10 or 15 minutes or so, several other cops showed up, So then, as I was saying, the cop called us a dog out there to sniff the vehicle as well as to sniff the money. And then here it is, the cop said that the dog alerted that the money had drug residue on it. And so what the cop did was the cop said, that he was going to take the money, he was going to confiscate it because it had drug residue on it. And the cop said that he believed that the money was drug money. Now here it is, this Jake, he had proved that he had was a retired Marine and everything like that. And he had, said that he had been saving for over 20 years. He had been saving that money for over 20 years, but then yet here it is, that cop, basically lied and said that the money was drug money and the cop confiscated the money from the Jake. But that's how these devils get down. That's how Esau gets down. He's a thief, This devil, he seeks to rob, steal, and destroy the innocent. And see, here it is, that Northern Kingdom Jake, I think he eventually got that money back, but it took him every bit of 6 months to get that money back. He had to go through all types of hoops and hurdles and everything like that just to try to get that money back. And he eventually got it back, as I was saying, but it took him every bit of 6 months, to try to get that money back. But these devils, they'll act like they want to help you. They'll act all nice to you, but in the back of their minds, they're seeking to try to destroy you. And if given the opportunity, they will destroy you. Esau is not to be trusted, as pursuant to the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 12, verse 10. Esau is the enemy. Psalm chapter 10, this is verse 11. He says, he has said in his heart, the Most High hath forgotten. He hidden his face. He will never see it. Okay, and see, these devils, they think that the Lord is not watching. They think that the Lord has forgotten, all of the wickedness that they have done. But, and so therefore, Esau, doesn't fear the Lord. But, with that being said, the Lord sees everything and the Lord is recording everything. And these devils, they will very soon fear the Lord because Esau has a great and terrible judgment coming to him. These devils, they're going to have to pay for all of the crimes that they have committed. Again, this devil, he doesn't have much longer in the power seat. His kingdom is literally falling right before our eyes. And these devils, they're going to have to pay for all of the crimes that they committed. And no matter how much this devil tries to cry and squirm his way out of judgment, he's not going to be able to escape the judgments that the Lord Yahweh Shem Abishai has for him. Okay, this is Micah, and this is chapter 2, and this is verse 1. And it reads, woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it because it is in the power of their hands. And see, woe means destruction. And again, these devils, they have a great and terrible judgment coming to them very soon because Esau is devising iniquity and works of evil. And this devil, he feels as though that he can get away with it because he's currently in the power seat. And again, setting up traffic snares so that you can basically rob the people of their money. That is just one of many works of evil. Okay, that is just one of many ways that these devils devise iniquity. Okay, and see, here it is, the entire earth is in a weak and mourning state because these devils, because they're ruling in wickedness. Esau was unfit to rule. Here it is, I was just thinking another way that, here it is, I was just thinking of something because here it is, another way that these devils, they work evil and inequity and whatnot. Here it is, over 70% of the earth is made up of water. But then yet here it is, you have to pay to have water to come into your home. Okay, and you also have to pay, okay, for drinking water, because these devils, they intentionally defile the water. Here it is. I was watching a video. This was a couple of years back, and I think this was happening somewhere in Canada. There was a lake in Canada, and here it is. These devils, they got caught red-handed, okay, dumping forever chemicals into the water, basically intentionally trying to defile the water. That's what these devils were doing. Okay, they were intentionally trying to defile this lake of water, and they got caught red-handed doing it. But again, these devils, they devise iniquity and works of evil. Esau is not to be trusted. Esau is that can't get right. But, they're going to have to pay for all of the crimes that they've committed. Esau has a great and terrible judgment coming to him very soon. These devils, they're going to be stripped of their rulership, and they're going to go into hardcore bondage. This kingdom of theirs is going to be destroyed. And after 1,000 years of hardcore bondage, this devil Esau, he's going to be eradicated off the face of the earth. Micah chapter 2, and this is verse 2. It says, "And they covet fields and take them by violence, and houses and take them away, so that they oppress a man and his house, even a man and his heritage." Okay, and see, here it is. These devils, they stole America from the northern kingdom tribes, through violence, rape, robbery, and murder. Okay. See, Esau, what he will do is, he'll use his military. He'll come into people's lands, rob the people of their lands, rob the people of the resources, and then he tries to tell the people how to live. And see, here it is right now. These devils, they're trying to go into Venezuela, because Venezuela, I think, has the world's largest oil reserve. And that's what these devils want. They want that oil over there, Verse 2 again, it says, "And they covet fields and take them by violence, and houses and take them away, so that they oppress a man and his house, even a man and his heritage." And again, these devils, they stole America from the northern kingdom tribes. They enslaved the northern kingdom tribes over here in America. They deleted off many of the northern kingdom tribes. And then they brought the southern kingdom tribes over to America, and they did the same thing to us. Okay? And see, here it is. These devils, they have oppressed our people. They've robbed our people of their heritage. Here it is. These devils, they call us by all types of bywords, such as black, Indian, Puerto Rican, Hispanic, and so on. Instead of calling us, by our true nationality, which is the nation of Israel, Here it is. These devils, they stole the land of Israel. That's our land, and they stole that land. They stole the land of Israel, and they're over there right now in the land of Israel claiming to be us. Esau was over there lying and saying that he's the Most High's people, when he's not. Okay, Esau was the seed of Satan. Okay. We're going to end off here in 2nd Ezra chapter 6 and verse 18. And it reads, "And it said, Behold, the days come that I will begin to draw nigh and to visit them that dwell upon the earth." Okay, and see, this right here is what's happening. The Lord is visiting the earth, and the Lord is visiting Babylon the Great. And the Lord is sending plagues upon Babylon the Great to punish those that are being wicked, as well as to bring down this wicked kingdom of Esau's. Because again, this place is falling right before our eyes. Here it is, the Lord is plaguing the economy over here, because here it is, we're seeing inflation that's happening. Okay, the dollar bill is losing its spending power. Okay, here it is, you're having a lot of these other nations, they're now rejecting the US dollar. This current monetary system over here is about to collapse. Okay, the Lord is plaguing the job market over here, because here it is, the work is drying up over here in Babylon the Great. We're seeing massive layoffs happening. Okay, the grinding is ceasing over here. The Lord is plaguing Babylon the Great with bad weather and flooding and whatnot, because here it is, all throughout this year, there's been hurricanes and flooding and tornadoes that have torn through various communities over here in Babylon the Great. Right now, there's some major flooding happening right now in Washington State. I want to say the north region of Washington State. There's some flooding going on right now in Washington State. And a lot of these Edomites, they're being affected, because here it is, a lot of these Edomites, they're having to evacuate their homes. And see, here it is, many of those homes that are actually being destroyed right now due to the flooding that's happening in Salakia, in Washington right now. Okay, here it is, many of these Edomites' homes are being destroyed by the flooding that's happening right now in Washington. Many of their vehicles and businesses are being destroyed. And so with that being said, the Lord is going to continue to visit America. The Lord is going to continue to send plagues upon America. And these Edomites are going to continue to be affected. They're going to continue to feel the wrath of the Lord Yahweh Bashim Abishai. And that ultimate plague that the Lord Yahweh Bashim Abishai is going to send on America is going to come by way of thermonuclear destruction, thermonuclear missiles, which is going to destroy this place and all these wicked people over here. Only the Lord's elect is going to have that hedge of protection over them and be delivered before this place is ultimately destroyed. And Lord willing, we are that elect number. 2nd Ezra chapter 6 and verse 19, it says, "And I will begin to make inquisition of them, what they be that have hurt unjustly with their unrighteousness, and when the affliction of Zion shall be fulfilled." Okay, and see, here it is. These Edomites have hurt unjustly with their unrighteousness. And so the Lord is making an inquisition of them, or an investigation of these Edomites. And this is why we're hearing about UFO sightings, because the UFOs are the Lord's chariots. And the chariots are recording everything. Okay? And with that being said, the Lord is going to be thorough with his judgments of this place. And judgments are happening right now. And more judgments are coming. Okay? I want to get this last part. It says, "And when the affliction of Zion shall be fulfilled." Okay, and see, here it is. Here it is. We're living in a time, to where our punishment is about to be fulfilled. Because, we are Zion. And again, when I say, we are Zion, I'm talking about you so-called blacks, Hispanics, Native Americans, and those that are of the speckled bird that look like these other nations, which you go back to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob on your father's side. Okay? So with that being said, it's time to wake up, Israel. It's time to return to the Lord Yahweh Bashim Abishai. So that you and yours can have that hedge of protection over you and be delivered before this place is ultimately destroyed. And so that's pretty much the point. I'm going to go ahead and end off here. I hope it was edifying. Once again, I want to give all honor, praises, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, and double honors and respect to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, Kwam Yasharala and Abal Babal. Shalom.